Breda, with regards to, let me just clear something up. Attacking Rudy at the bed.
Correct.
And the attack on Rudy was still ongoing. Observations about what was actually happening in the room.
Correct.
Okay. Now, with regards to your position, after you've now become aware, strange, as your evidence before court is, although you're not sure of the exact spot, you moved out of the bathroom. Am I correct that far?
Yes.
In other words, then, logically speaking, into the bed. And you stood sort of in the corner of the room where the, would I be correct that would be sort of where the double doors open to the little balcony? There's a sort of a square that is formed with the foot of your bed, the door with the little balcony, and the bathroom door.
Correct.
So you were somewhere in that vicinity.
Yes.
Just to make sure,
Yes.
in your statement to the police, Exhibit SS, paragraph 5, is sort of slightly, you use the word slightly, and that is not part of your plea explanation.
Yeah, but
It is in the plea
this is my statement, yes.
Because in your plea explanation, and then with regards to your position in the statement, you specifically state that after you had opened the toilet door slightly, I then stand there afraid to go out of the toilet. That is in paragraph 5, still in paragraph 5 of your statement.
Those are not my words, my lord.
So you never told the police you were afraid to go out of the bathroom?
No, I told them I was scared, and that I was in the corner of the room, but I never specifically said that I was scared to leave the bathroom.
So where did they get the fact that you were scared to leave the bathroom?
I don't know. Yeah, well, I think it's probably a mistranslation. Would probably be
Mistranslation?
Yeah, probably the best.
Which language were you speaking?
I was speaking English.
The document is in English, isn't it?
Correct.
So it's not translated.
It was an Afrikaans speaking officer. And I think it's clear from the statement that this is wording from...
I'm just thinking how you mistranslated, wrongly translated. Is that what mistranslation means?
Okay, well, it was certainly a misrepresentation of what I had told them. Whether they intentionally did it is not what I'm saying.
You are certain you never told him that you're scared to go out of the bathroom?
Correct.
And you are very sure today that you did in fact stand in that, you see in your plea explanation, you said in paragraph 24 of Exhibit J, I initially stood frozen. I also cannot recall whether I remained in the same position throughout the attack on Rudy. That is, after you had opened the bathroom door.
Yes.
You say that I initially stood frozen. I also cannot recall whether I remained in the same position throughout. You never mentioned that you went out of the bathroom. You just mentioned I opened the bathroom door.
Yes, but I did go out the bathroom door, and
So today you are now sure that you did exit the bathroom.
yes, because of, as I said, it's based on how I remember seeing the room.
So now, Mr. van Breda, this is also something that is, since you've testified, is something new, that you actually left the bathroom. It's not in your statement to the police.
The statement is not. I put the statement to one of the new statement. This is going to be bad. It's part of my instructions, so I don't want to state that this and suggesting that this is a reason fabrication is factually correct. Was placed where it didn't the state's case. where my private position is.
No, I'm still busy making a statement to the witness with regards to. I remember what was put to Captain Hubert. Mr. Van Breda, in your statement, you mentioned, although you say it wasn't, you never said that. The sequence of events are that you remained in the bathroom. In the pre-explanation, the sequence of events relayed there also create the impression at the very least that you remained in the bathroom.
That was not intended to be the impression that...
It does not.
It was not intended to be the impression created by my plea explanation, because that has never been my version.
It was, I agree with your counsel, it was put to Captain Hubert when he testified specifically with regards, if my memory does serve me correct, about the lack of blood spatter around the bathroom door and the door itself. He was questioned on if you were inside of the room, would that then explain why there was blood spatter on your shorts? So I just want to make sure again, is it your version now in court that you in actual fact stood in that little corner?
Yes. I viewed the room from that corner. So there wouldn't have been enough space for me to be inside the bathroom and still be able to see what's going on in the room.
Because the bathroom door, as we saw in the court visited the house, it opens to the inside of the bathroom.
Correct.
So you would not have been able to stand behind the door and still see into the bedroom.
Correct.
And you also agree that had you been standing in the bathroom and blood spatter from the attack on your brother and or your father ended up on you, one would have expected blood spatter on the surrounding bathroom, the wall, and the door.
Yes.
As far as you can can you now remember, Mr. Van Breda, whether you remained in that corner of the bedroom during the sequence of the events as they unfolded until the attacker left the bedroom the first time? Did you remain, or can you not remember what you did?
I still remember seeing the room from that angle, so I'm not acutely aware of where my body was, but I know that that's where I saw the angle from which I saw the room.
Is it your evidence, Mr. Van Breda, so that I'm sure that I understand you correctly as far as you remember, you remained in that little corner?
Correct.
So then the part in your plea explanation, paragraph 27, where you state that you went out into the room when the attacker went towards your mother, that is not totally correct.
No.
What made the attacker stop the attack on your brother?
Could you just repeat the last statement? I didn't hear that. It was referred to paragraph 27.
The paragraph 27 of Exhibit J, I have it noted that he remembers that he went out into the bedroom when the attacker went towards his mother. As the witnesses testified that he remembers remaining in that little corner, that can then not be correct at all.
Looking at paragraph 27, that's what's baffling me. I don't know what my colleague is referring to.
I'm referring 7, my lord. But I will leave it for argument, my lord.
It's not contained in paragraph 27 what you're speaking to the witness.
Let me just make sure.
Okay, let's just see paragraph 27.
I will leave it for the moment, my lord. Let me just make sure where I found it. I made a specific note of it. Might be that I made the wrong connection, but I will. That's good, please.
I think you may be thinking of the
Sorry?
paragraph 7 in the statement. In the statement rather than the explanation.
I will get to that. When I've made sure of my facts. Mr. van Breda, my question is, what made the attacker stop the attack on your brother?
The switching on of the lights and my dad coming at him.
As far as you observed, were you able to it was not as if he knew your brother. It was the fact of your father coming into the room that made him stop the attack on your brother. When you now, did the attacker remain in the same position when he attacked your father as he had been when he attacked Rudy?
No, he, but roughly the same left. To his left, towards the foot of the bed.
At the point in time when you now saw him, excuse me, sorry, you made some sort of noise to attract the attention of at least your father to come and help you.
Correct.
Your father now arrives as you expected, and you now see this person attacking your father as well.
Correct.
Did you again scream or make some sort of noise to attract attention again? At all?
Not that I recall.
Not that you recall because it didn't happen, or you might have done so, but you don't remember it.
If I don't remember it, then I wouldn't know. So I would say no as far as my capacity to do so.
And by describing the attacker taking a step slightly to his left, is it a change of position in the grandscape or a slight, like you said, a slight step, a little step to the side?
Well, what I remember distinctly him stepping to the side at the same time as swinging the axe at my father.
And was it a big step or a small step?
I couldn't see his feet, so I remember it.
Was he still between the two beds?
Yes.
And what type of movement did he execute when he attacked your father? And I presume it's still with the same axe?
Correct.
How did he attack your father?
He swung the axe across in front of him, sort of coming down from the side.
So it's a similar, if I might use the word chopping motion, from sort of behind him on his right hand side to the side, coming to the front.
Correct.
And your father is at that time in front of him, to his side, where in relation to where he was standing is your father
In front of him.
in front of him.
Well, he was facing the bed. My father came onto the bed.
If I remember correctly, it was put to, I think it was Dr. Anthony, that your father sort of executed the kind of a rugby tackle. It appeared that it might have been that type of motion.
Yes, that's what it was.
So he was sort of hunched over.
Yes.
Am I correct?
He was just on his way over the bed, yes.
As far as you can remember, with his arms stretched out in front of him, like eventually to complete the pincer movement, or did he go in with the shoulder as this?
I can't specifically recall where his hands were handled.
As far as you're concerned, your father was trying to attack the attacker.
Yes.
He was not trying to protect Rudy or fall over Rudy, trying
He was
to prevent the attacker from further hitting him.
probably just as likely doing that. We're just as likely to protect Rudy as to try and... I would say it's probably just as likely that he was trying to protect Rudy.
I see.
If he was tackling the attacker, I'd still consider that motivated by protecting Rudy.
Again, and as you've done previously, I presume you will explain to the court. In your statement, Exhibit SS, paragraph 5, line 7, you say your father jumped on the attacker.
Yeah, these are, again, not my words, but the gist of what happened.
And in your plea explanation, Exhibit J, paragraph 26, you say your father moved towards and onto the bed over Rudy. This was an amplified in cross-examination of his right attacker.
Correct.
Is that what your version?
Yes.
So your father moved towards, onto the bed, and over Rudy.
Yes. Towards the attacker, onto the bed, over Rudy, all being the same movement.
Did you add, and then the attacker, just to confirm, he used the same axe to attack your father in the same manner as he did Rudy?
Yes.
Did you ever see the attacker use the knife on your father?
No, I didn't see the knife until the attacker had it in his hand after I already had the axe.
Mr. Van der Rohe, I know you said you tried to stay away or not look at post-mortem reports, but the wounds to back of your father's head and upper neck area are if this is his neck, I'm showing you my phone at the right angle to me. If this is his head, and this is his torso, the axe blows are layered in this manner, in a way parallel to what would be in his shoulder.
Okay.
How would the attacker have been able to execute those blows if he had swung the axe as you described, sort of in a sideways motion?
That sideways motion was the first strike that I mentioned. After that, my father didn't move again, but he was hit again by the attacker.
Yes? With a similar motion, was it now a different motion?
Similar motion to the initially described motion.
Is he still Mr.
The
Rowe?
swing from the side was a different type of swing than the majority of what he was doing.
So what was the type of swing for the majority of the blows that he did?
From up, down, like as I described with Rudy.
From up down, you testified, Mr. Van that the father was the same as what he did for Rudy. And you demonstrated about shoulder height to the back of what would be a person, swung it to the side, to the front, and came down on the victim.
I would slightly disagree there, as the described the motions as more swinging from up to down, the angle just being because of where he was standing.
And demonstrate it.
Sure. So, for the attack on Rudy and for the barring the first strike on my father, all just occurred as strikes where he was just hitting down in front of him.
Once. Several times.
This is several times. The one occasion was as my father was moving to tackle him, was when he stepped to the left and brought the axe from the side. So it's a different motion.
Mr. Van Gogh, that still does not.
Yes, it was correctly.
You describe two different, or demonstrate two different motions, Mr. Van Gogh, and please correct me if I'm wrong. The first motion that you described is more of a person raising the axe with almost extended arm over the shoulder.
Yes.
The swinging movement from right to left.
And then the swinging movement from right to left.
No, swinging movement from top to bottom.
Yes, but yeah, from top to bottom, that's right. But from right to left. From the right hand side to the left hand side, downwards.
Correct.
Mr. Good on that?
He's honest as well. Then
The second
the first motion was
Yeah.
sort of sideways and thereafter more from top.
And the second one, second movement somewhat different.
Yes.
Somewhat
But-
different in the sense of the extended arm is now somewhat lower when raised, more, as I said, shoulder height.
They've got it the other way around. So the
Lower than shoulder.
the first strike of my father was from the side, with the lower arm, as you described
Yeah,
it.
but the second motion that you described in court just now, that
Yes.
one, the one that you say differ from one raised
Yes,
up.
the second motion that I
Lower.
described is, yes, lower, I would say more of a,
So now let me get this right. Which type of motion did the attacker use when he attacked Rudy? Number one, the one upwards,
number one.
all of the blows.
Correct.
And when he attacked your father,
Initially,
the second version,
second type that I showed, and after that, again, the first.
so Mr. Van Gogh, that's still,
And you faded the way after that.
After that, back to the first described motion.
that still does not fit in with the way in which the wounds were located on your father's body.
Even my learned colleague, a lot of you in. First of all, my learned colleague inspector, she's not a medical expert, number one. Number two, with Dr. Pathologist, Dr. Anthony, when she testified, I put to her what my client described, how the father lunged at the attack and he was then stuck. And thereafter, when he fell down, he struck repeatedly by someone standing between the two beds. She expressly stated and testified that that would be consistent with the rules. I'm a little suggesting that what the inquest showed, and given the wounds, that it's inconsistent. There was no evidence presented before the lordship of an expert to gainsay my client. In fact, the only evidence was that they support that motion. And my learned was an expert. It's inadmissible cross-examination and respect it's unfair.
My lord, the demonstration that was given to Dr. Anthony as to how the blows were being executed on your father and which she agreed to was not as detailed as the accused is now described.
You're entitled to cross-examine. Please go ahead.
The fact is, Mr. Van Gogh, the wounds located on your father's body, the back of his, the upper part of his neck to the lower part of his, what I would call shoulders, and the lower part of his neck. They are all, for lack of a better word, parallel to what would be his shoulder line.
Okay.
That's what you observe. That's what you testify. You can at the attacker from the front. The attacker's first swing was the second version of the type of blows that he executed, sort of from the side, horizontal as it were.
Yes.
Then where would that blow have landed on your part? Logically speaking.
I didn't see exactly where that landed, but I saw that he went limp afterwards. I didn't exactly see where that first blow landed.
Are you trying to say he might have missed your part?
No, because after that first strike, his body went limp.
So it must have been one of the blows that was noted by Dr. Anthony during the post-mortem.
Correct.
One of the blows that are parallel to his shoulder line.
Correct.
So if he swung the axe sort of horizontally, he couldn't have just finished the movement. He must have changed direction somewhere to come from the top.
No, I disagree.
You disagree? Why?
Because that's what I saw.
Speak a bit louder.
Is-
Look at this one.
Sorry.
Speak. Answer the question. Don't worry about anything else.
You don't have to make it.
I disagree on the basis that I saw my father get hit with the axe, and as you heard my evidence.
So you're saying, despite what
Let me finish the answer, Ms. Galloway. Ms. Galloway, take the time to relax, drink some water. Let's get a glass there. Look at a glass there for water. Alicia. But now, please just relax, be calm. Okay, let's finish your answer.
My Lord, when the attacker was facing the bed from the side of the bed, and my father approached, if where I'm standing right now is the attacker's position, approached from that corner of the bed over onto the bed, and the attacker stepped to the side as part of his motion for the first strike. He then, with my father laying on the bed, struck down again repeatedly.
Struck down repeatedly.
Yes.
So, if I can just put on record what you have demonstrated to the court now, Mr. Van der Waal. There's your father coming in from pretending that, as you said, in your position, the attacker was in your position as you standing in the witness box, from your left-hand side. Your father entered the room.
Correct.
The attacker took a step to the left, that is in the direction of which your father is entering the room, am I correct?
Yes.
And then, would that be then when, at that point in time, the father coming in from the left, and the attacker taking a step to the left, that is when your father, the attacker was facing your father? Not
Yes.
necessarily face to face, but they are now across each other. It's only the bed separating them.
My father was on the bed, so the bed wasn't
On the bed.
separating them,
Yeah.
but yes.
But it's not like, so it's not like your father was still a bit more to the left or to the right of the attacker. They are now in line with each other.
Yes. And so that position there where my father was laying and where the attacker was, that does make sense with, as you described it.
You say that makes sense with a blow which is linear to the shoulder line of the father. The first blow coming in as you described, the second type of blow you demonstrated coming in from the side, sort of horizontally, and then ending up parallel in line with the shoulder line.
Yes.
I will leave that for argument's sake. And then just to complete that point, then the subsequent blows, after your father had now become immovable on the bed, the subsequent blows you say is the first type that you demonstrated before, blows from almost above the head straight down.
Correct.
The axe then being in a right angle with your father's, well, being in line with your father's neck. If I can use my phone again, putting that into a right angle with myself. If you execute a blow straight down, it would go along the length of the neck, not across the neck.
So you have my father's body at 90 degrees to where he was.
Not at 90 degrees.
Yes.
He was
So
not, as
no.
I asked you, he was not facing across.
The attacker was facing him, yes. He was on his way over the bed from the left. Yes, so why would his body be lying in the direction of the attacker? His body was lying across in that direction.
So you're saying that the blows that was executed from the first type of blows, being this after the first initial blow,
Yes.
those were when your father's body was actually at an angle to the attacker.
Yes.
And
The
that,
attacker was standing by the bed, next to the bed, and my father was laying in the direction that the bed naturally took, so he was at right angles.
so he was no longer, they were no longer across from each other. Your father on the bed, across from him. He was actually at an angle.
Yes, my father was at an angle, but he was across from the attacker. I wouldn't.
And just to confirm, at this point in time, when the attacker executing the attack on your father, you were still in the corner of the room at the foot of your bed.
Yes.
At this point in time, seeing as you had shouted for help, your shout for help attracted the attention of at least your father. As far as you are concerned, Mr. van der Laar, was the attacker aware of your presence in the room at that time? This is now after he executed the attack on your father.
I presume that he was. I certainly thought he did. I certainly thought he was aware at the time.
What made him stop the attack on your father?
Hearing my mother outside, I think.
You have a fairly deep voice, Mr. van der Laar, am I correct?
Sure.
So one would not make the mistake of not being able to discern between a female voice and a male voice in your house at that time.
No.
So, as far as your version is concerned, Mr. van der Laar, does that mean that the attacker is in your bedroom, he has just attacked both your father and your brother, you have screamed loud enough behind him so that you attract the attention of your father,
Correct.
but he ignores you, male person, in the room behind him,
Correct.
and he moves out of the room towards the female voice outside the room.
Correct.
Would that not have left him open to attack from behind by yourself?
Yes.
And again, despite as far as you're concerned, he must have been aware of you in the room.
Correct.
He does nothing.
Correct.
Does he at least look over his shoulder to see who is behind him?
Not that I can recall.
You mentioned on 2 occasions that the attacker laughed. Was he laughing when he attacked Rudy?
Yes, but not initially. After attacking my father is when he laughed for the first time. But after that attack, it did look like he struck Rudy again.
What sort of laughter was it?
It's maniacal. I can't.
Was he laughing or giggling?
Giggling. It's a high pitched.
Like he was having fun with people.
Correct. It was a high pitched
He was
giggle.
having fun enjoying what he was doing. Is that what you suggest?
It appeared so.
Was that your impression?
It appeared so. Yes.
As you stand in the witness box today, Mr. van der Daal, can you at all recall or remember anything, if you did observe anything, what happened to your mother and sister outside of the bedroom?
I couldn't see, and I also don't recall hearing anything.
See, it's interesting that you immediately go to the issue of you don't recall hearing, because in your statement, paragraph 6, and of the explanation, Exhibit J, paragraph 27, this you remember the same detail. You stated that after you assault your father, you heard your mother's voice in the passage. But then there's a little bit of a difference in how you remember the events.
Correct.
In your statement, you say, paragraph 6, after the attacker went out of your room to where your mother was, you could hear him attack her. And in the statement, this is when you ventured out of the bathroom, but still not so far as that you could see your mother.
Again, the statement, those are not my own words.
In your plea explanation, Exhibit J, paragraph 27, you specifically state that you do not remember any sound, hearing any sounds from outside your room, and that is presumably with reference to the attack on your mother.
Yes, it's still an unanswered question that I ask myself all the time. It doesn't make any sense why I can't recall any of those sounds. There must have been sounds.
Because it was the sounds of him attacking Rudy in a similar way with the same weapon that attracted your attention in the bathroom.
Correct.
Just to complete the picture, sir, after that little difference between whether you heard the attack on your mother outside, both your plea explanation and your statement are the same thing. That you say you move a bit into the bedroom, but not enough so that you could see the attack on your mother. So it's just that little bit in between, the question of whether you heard sounds from your mother's attack or not, that is changed between the statement and the plea explanation.
Correct.
And your explanation therefore is, for the difference?
In
That in the statement, you say you heard the attack on your mother, but in your plea explanation and in court now, you say, I did not hear any sound.
No, the difference is you can't recall.
Now you say you can't recall hearing any sounds.
correct.
What would your explanation be for the difference that in the statement you say you heard sounds and now you say you can't recall hearing any sounds?
Either I didn't actually say this to the police, or I remembered it then and don't remember it now. Because it still seems so strange to me that I don't remember it, so it kind of does make sense that I did remember it at some point.
So it's not, this is not something that the police might have added on their own, as with some of the other aspects.
I don't think so, no.
Could it possibly be that the other aspects of the statement that you say they added on of their own, that might also just be things that you have forgotten?
It's possible.
When this, at the time when the attacker, whom you have now just observed seeing attacking both your brother and your father in a very vicious manner, and you saw him moving towards your mother, because you were aware she was there, you also heard her voice.
Correct.
Because you reiterated her words, but so you were aware my mother is just outside of the room.
Yes.
And you now see this vicious attacker who just attacked the only other two males in the house, moving in your direction. What do you do?
I didn't do anything, my lord.
Did you still remain in the corner of the room?
As far as I can recall, yes.
And at that point of
I
time,
can understand you're scared to do it. But why did you shout to your mother to run away?
I don't know. I don't know, Lord.
and at that point you must have also been aware to the fact that your sister, Maggie, was also in that direction. Her bedroom is the next one in line.
Correct.
Did you at least try and attract her attention?
No, I didn't.
Warn her?
No, I didn't. If I had been thinking clearly, I probably would have done these things. It was,
If you had been thinking clearly.
yes, if I hadn't been so scared and so unable to decide upon action.
Then I can understand Mr. Pandita. You're scared to do anything. That you will instinctively trying to help your loved ones.
Correct.
Do you agree?
Yes.
You're not saying that.
Yes, I agree, and I would have agreed at the time, but that's
But
unfortunately
you
not
did
what happened.
absolutely nothing.
Correct.
You put all that down to the state of your fear.
Yes.
When was the first time that you, Mr. Van der Daal, became aware of the fact that your mother and sister was also attacked?
When I left the room and could see them, but I think part of the shock was that I think part of the shock that I received later was that when I moved through there and just before I threw the axe, I didn't really register what had happened to Mom and Marley.
Would you agree, Mr. Van der Daal, that the marks in the door frame of your wall, you remember Captain Brown testified about the marks in the door frame?
I recall that, yes.
And on the top stair, the tiles on the top stair?
Mm-hmm.
You're just nodding your head, you just answered so
Correct, I recall.
Those could very easily have been from the attacker swinging the axe around in that location when he attacked your mother and your sister.
I suppose so.
You said you couldn't say what wall there, or on the stairs. That was the evidence.
The one blow on the plaster next to the wall, next to the door, that was the one that she specifically said, according to her, it's more probably the one who made with the blunt side of the axe. That was part of the evidence.
But the evidence said she said it was a possibility, but she wasn't sure it was.
Yes,
What I asked my local witnesses to put the entire body in.
Okay, just ask the witness what he thinks.
All what I'm doing to the witness is it possible?
What do you think?
And they agree, it is possible. According to you and what you experienced and observed that night, Mr. Van Breda, what made the attacker come back to your room, the boys' room?
I have no idea.
And what was the first thing that he did when he came into the room?
He looked at me and he laughed at me.
Did he approach you?
Yes.
Immediately upon entering the room?
Yes.
Would it be correct, and I note that you also stated in your pre-explanation paragraph 28 of Exhibit J that it didn't appear that up until that time he was really concerned about your presence.
That's how it seemed, yes.
From the sequence of events, Mr. Van Breda, as your family members were attacked, it would appear, before this also remarked earlier, that the attacker seemed to initially, please forgive me if my wording is not correct, or seems careless, when he went for Rudy. That was the initial target of his attack.
Correct.
And then he followed that up by attacking each family member, it appears, as they approached the scene or the incident, where the incident took place.
As far as I can tell, yes.
It is not as if, you in contrast, and if you understand what I'm trying to put to you, it is not as if he attacked Ruby, then went from there and attacked your father where he was, then went from there and attacked your mother where she was, and went from there and attacked Margaret where she was.
Correct.
And then to put it to you in another different way, that he didn't need, except for approaching Rudy, he didn't need to go and find his victims, they all approached him.
Correct.
Except for you were on that same location during all this time, in the same room, and he doesn't, he practically ignores you until he's attacked the rest of your family.
Correct.
Now, when one considers your statute, Mr. Van Breda, as recorded by Dr. Dr. Albertson in Exhibit LL, she described you as 1.84 meters tall, weighing approximately 93.5 kilograms. That was in January 2015.
Makes sense?
Was that about right?
Correct.
Now, in paragraph 11 of Exhibit SS, you give a description of the attacker, and I'm just referring to his stature. You describe him as approximately 1.86 meters tall and well built.
Yeah. Again, it's a description that was sort of brought about by Colonel Bienuka asking me to be specific. He asked me how tall the person was that I saw, and I said, I think they were a little bit taller than me, maybe an inch taller than me. And then he said, okay, how tall are you? And I told him how tall I am. he added 2 centimeters and reported that I said that the person was 1.86 meters. He asked me if the person was skinny or fat, and I said the person was quite muscular.
So you keep referring to aspect that you say it's Phenomenicus words, but when you describe how he got to that, it's not as if he made it up. He asked you questions. For instance, now with
Yes.
regards to how tall this person was.
Yes,
He says a little bit taller than I am.
yes,
How tall are you? I'm 1.84. Okay, he's maybe an inch higher than I am, so I add 2 centimeters, that's about right.
correct.
Because how will a policeman who is going to look for a suspect going to be able to know how tall you are and use that for the suspect? They need a description.
Correct.
So it's not as if Colonel Bienica made this up.
Yeah, as far as I was concerned, when I was there, being interrogated by Colonel Bienica, I presumed that he was attempting to find these people.
Yeah. That is why I asked you to give me a description of your attack.
Correct.
He was trying to get as close as possible to the person that you are describing.
Correct.
And during cross-examination of Professor Dempers, it was put to him that you are a physically strong person, or were at least at the time of January 2015.
I remember.
You remember? Do you agree with that?
Yes.
You don't suffer from injuries.
No.
And if I remember correctly, it was also put that you are a physically active person. You testified that you wanted to go on a scuba diving course
Correct.
later that time. And your family was involved in a lot of outdoor activities.
Correct.
So it's not like you were a sickly, smaller built person.
No.
You see, when one considers the descriptions, okay, and then just for that matter, Mari was 16-year-old girl at the time.
Correct.
When one considers the other adults in the house, according to the post-mortem exhibit L, Rudy is described as being 1.7 meters tall and approximately 80 kilograms in weight. Does that fit with your knowledge?
I think he was a bit taller than that, but yeah.
Round about.
Yeah.
We're shorter than you.
Correct.
Your father is described in Exhibit M, post-mortem, as 1.75 meters tall and approximately 120 kilograms.
About correct. Rudy was taller than Dad, so that 1.7 meters for Rudy is incorrect. But the rest I agree.
Shorter than Rudy.
Yes.
And he was at the time, in January 2015, he was a lot older than Rudy. He was 55 years old.
Correct. He was also recovering from, he had successfully removed bowel cancer, October 2014.
So he wasn't a physically strong person.
He was a physically strong person. We were always...
How many years before this incident was it?
Was there?
How many years before this incident?
Was which? Bowel cancer was October 2014, so very recently, just before. But in lots of occasions when we did like I remember specifically a cycling race outside our house in Australia, where my dad, looking as he did near the end, completely unexpectedly beat me and Rudy both in a sprint on the bikes. So he was a lot stronger than he appeared. He wasn't in any way disabled either.
But as you say, on his appearance, one wouldn't judge him to be a strong person.
Correct.
And your mother, despite the fact that she's a female, she was only 1.65 meters tall.
Correct.
And weighed approximately 75 kilograms.
Correct.
So, would you agree, given just on sight, given the stature of the family members, you would have been more closely matched to the physical size of the attacker than anybody else.
Yes.
Now, whilst we are dealing with your description of the attack, Mr. Chandra, it was put to Sergeant Apollos by counsel during cross-examination that it was a very vague description that was given of the supposed attack.
When was the
When
description?
you described the attack to the police.
When?
I will read to you, sir, in your statement. You say,
Okay, my statement.
paragraph 11, this person who attacked my family was a well-built person and he was strong, 1.86 meters tall, and he had a dark jeans, black jumbo jersey, black gloves, homemade dark grey mask on. I only saw his eyes at the time he was in the house. It will be difficult for me to identify the person if I see the person's whole face, but I'll recognize his eyes and voice. It is a vague description. It's very generalized.
As accurate as I could be.
Because Sergeant Apollos at that time was testifying as how they wanted information from you about the identity or the appearance of the attacker so that they could trace them. Correct?
Correct.
And it was put to him that no one would be able to trace that attacker based on your description.
Okay.
Do you agree with that statement or not?
Yeah, I would agree. I did not have a lot to go on.
And the description that you gave, Mr. Van der Gaard, is a very, please excuse me if I sound sarcastic, it's a very stereotyped description that you gave. And given what you later added to it, it boils down to an unknown black man wearing a balaclava and gloves who executed this attack.
Yes.
Just to make certain, sir, how were you able to discern that the person wearing this homemade balaclava and eyes is indeed a black man?
I'm not 100% certain, but all I can tell the court is that I noticed his eyes. There's a very deep contrast between the whites of his eyes and the skin around his eyes. And I also noticed the frayed edges of the mask he was wearing. So based on contrast, how his eyes looked.
That would be based on, say,
Yes.
possibly a black man.
Yeah, I suppose it could be
You're able to make out the man by his eyes.
No, I don't think so.
The skin color that we're talking about.
It's just the skin color that I'm talking
The
about, yes.
eyes.
Yes.
Could it have been a colored person with just dark skin?
Absolutely. This is actually one of the things when but coming from Australia, it's actually strange to some South Africans when I tell them that overseas the word coloured is not used at all. Someone would either be black or white, and so I was actually a bit inexposed to this culture, and so at the time, where I said black and it was.
But not all white people are wrong. Listen, I saw so little of this person's face or features.
That is what I told them, yes.
So
Because Colonel Bianco was not happy with me giving ambiguous answers.
wasn't sure of because of Colonel Bianca's being unhappy. As far as I
Why the leading statement referred to the attack as a black man. My don't be quoted, where does he say that he says?
correctly, there might not be in his description, but in the statement per se, but he did say that his description to the police was that he was a black man. That is what
No, but the question Mr. Breda wants there, where he states in his statement.
At this point in time, I cannot find it, but my memory is distinct, and I know that he thought that he was told it was a black man.
Well, let's ask him, did you say it's a black man? Or did you not say?
Yes. I said to the police when Sergeant Adams and Sergeant Milan fetched me from the ambulance and walked me to the police car, they asked me if I was able to tell the race of the attacker and of the attackers, and I said that I'd only seen one of them and that I think that he was black. But I was clear to them then that I was not sure, and I certainly made it clear to Colonel Bienica when giving my statement that I was not sure about this.
That's all I'm going to leave as well.
Mr. Van der Graaf. During your evidence, the only reference that I could find, and please tell me if I'm wrong, lest your counsel objects, the only reference that I can find to any communication between you and the attacker was the times when he laughed.
I suppose I
If that's a
probably still
communication.
wouldn't call it, if that's a communication, then yes.
At no time
It's not a laugh, it's giggling.
a giggle. At no time were any words spoken to you.
No.
The voices that you heard at some point in time was between, as you distinctly remember, between two persons.
Correct.
And that was in a different part of the house as to where you were.
Correct.
And what exactly did you hear those two people according to you speak?
I didn't hear specific words. I could just hear the fact that it was a voice with a harsh tone. I would say it's most likely Afrikaans, but a angry English or other language could have created the same harsh tones, I guess.
So that is the one voice that was the harsh tone, English or Afrikaans.
Both voices I would describe as harsh tones, urgent, and
So similar type voices.
yes. But two distinct intonations. You could tell that it was two voices.
So you were able, in actual fact, to discern two different voices speaking in harsh tones in a different part of your house.
Yes. It's what seemed like two different types of voices.
But did you see the two?
No.
And if I remember correctly, you also said that it sounded like one person said something and the other one answered. Or responded.
Exactly, yes.
So are you still of the view, you were able to discern that, are you still of the opinion that Mr. Poppet-Hoff couldn't hear raised voices and identify that as being people who are arguing as opposed to the soundtrack of a movie?
Yes.
So you're different from her.
Yes.
You have skills that she doesn't have.
That's ridiculous.
Yes, no, it's not ridiculous.
Well, that probably is
Mr. Breda, I'm with you. But ridiculous is not a harsh word.
I will vote from a
But I think that's not appropriate cross-examination.
I agree with Lord that was going too far. Please excuse that comment, Mr. Poppet-Hoff. So, if you heard two similar voices speaking in harsh tones, Mr. Van der Daal, how come you told the police that you would be able to identify the person's eyes and voice?
Well, they asked me would I be able to identify it, and I said, in my mind at this point, the idea of, say, a police lineup where they would bring the suspects that they had. If I were to listen to each of them and look at them in the eyes, that might help me identify them. So the police asked me how would I be able to identify them, and those are the two things that I could possibly use to identify them.
So it's not that you will be able, it's just something that you could possibly.
If I were to be able to identify them, it would only be based off of voice and eyes, and I suppose the build as well.
What exactly in the voice or voices that you heard would cause you to think that you would be able to maybe recognize them?
Well, just the fact that one recognizes the voice. I still hear a lot of the sounds that I heard in my nightmares. I still hear the giggling in my nightmares.
So there is no specific intonation or manner of speech that you would be able to recognize. It's just the general sound of the voice.
Yes. I'm not sure.
Was there anything distinctive about the place?
Not that I could describe.
In both the statement and the explanation, Mr. Thambador, and the report also now, you testified as to the clothes of the person wore, the one that you saw, as being dark jeans, a black jumbo jersey, black gloves, and a homemade grey mask. You still remember that to be correct?
Correct, except for the jeans part. I didn't say specifically jeans.
You don't remember the type of pants, just that it was dark.
Correct.
Did you find any such items in or around your house after the incident?
No.
Did you find any other forms of clothing of a similar nature in or around your house which did not belong in the house as far as you're concerned after the incident?
No.
You give a very specific detailed description of the mask, sir. In the sense that you say it looked like a homemade mask.
Correct.
What exactly caused you to describe it as such?
The frayed edges of the eye holes.
You keep referring to eye holes. Do I understand you correctly that it isn't, in the normal sense when one refers to a balaclava, that the eye part has like the ski mask open? It is just individual holes for the eyes.
Correct, individual holes. Yes.
Were those the only holes in this mask?
By the mouth as well.
Mouth as well.
But I can't specifically. Sorry?
What was it that these holes were cut into? Something or something?
No, it was it looked like a more thick material. It sort of covered the texture of his face as well. So
it must have been something sewed up and then holes were cut into it.
it looked like frayed edges of wool.
Oh?
Wool.
You put them in a woolen sack or something.
Correct. Yeah, not
So put a woolen sack, pulled away his head and the eyes and mouth were cut out.
certainly not stocking.
It's not a
thin.
Or a sack or something. Is that so?
Yes.
So, do I understand you correctly from what you just answered before? It's not something that fits snugly over his face. It's more loose fitting.
Correct.
Is government agencies like that?
That you go with,
All right.